Oh, hello. Welcome, everyone. I know we're slightly late, but again, I streamlined the overlay, so hopefully this will help solve a bit of the lag that you saw last episode. And for those who might be wondering what these episodes are, well, they're episodes on Drakenmemoria. And what is Drakenmemoria? It's Dungeons and Dragons. More specifically, for now, tonight, it's a group of people playing Dungeons and Dragons. So if it's not what you want to look at, very sorry, but we're not changing our schedule, so you'll have to make do with. For everyone else, if you're coming back, if you're someone that actually watched previous episode, well, welcome back. It's a pleasure to have you back with us. For those who might be new, welcome among us. It's also a pleasure to have you with us. And I actually know that there is at least one person who was eager to see us tonight. Received a message earlier today, so I hope you're there. If you are, hello. If you're not, well, I'm sure you're going to be here very soon. And we also got a donation last week. Thank you, Gabriel. It's extremely gratifying and very helpful to maintain this channel. I think that's about it. We've had a few new followers recently. Yes, I do watch every single week if we've had any new followers. So, welcome new followers. And for those who aren't following us yet, well, I'm sure it'll come eventually. I'm not too worried yet. So, let's get this started. So, last episode, the party finally got back up from the mine that they had been hunting their bounty in, a huge Humberhawk. They did their best to gather up their things, go back up the mine shaft, where they met with Valtteri, who had apparently decided that staying alone in the garden when everyone has gone out doing quests is not fun. It's extremely lonely, especially when you don't know that many people in there. So she decided to go and catch up with Audience and Fisher, who she had known for, well, Audience for a bit over a month, Fisher for a few weeks. When she got there, she got to meet Anvara and Remy for the first time, and they also got to meet her for the first time. They all left the mine together. Valtteri very eager to get out, as this was underground, surrounded by people. And also, druids don't really like mines, as a general thing. But they're gonna be tolerant of mines when it's dwarfs, because dwarf usually also make this their home. So it's sort of like being angry at ants. It's not very druidic. So they all got together, they all presented one another to them. They each presented themselves to one another, got out of the mine, and then Audience and Remy got back inside the mine to warn the owner of this place that the mine was good, that it was all clear, that they could go back in. And Remy picked up, well, tension in the dwarven voice. Apparently, he wasn't being completely forthcoming with what he was saying. He was hiding something. And so they all brought back this information outside, well, where they all deliberated whether they should just complete the bounty or do their duties as audience would see it and go back in the mine and hunt down evil. Well, having a paladin inside the group, I would have to say that the inevitable came to pass. And hunting down evil was the choice selected by the entire group. So they all reconvened at the village nearby, went there to spend a night, alienated a poor teenager, surprised a innkeeper, and realized that they had all forgotten about their tree elemental friend outside. And so they all went to sleep, and again forgot about their tree elemental friend outside.
He doesn't need to sleep.
Well, he would argue that he probably think it's a good thing from once forget so often. But yes, he wasn't injured. He didn't need to recover any spells, so...
And it was raining.
And it was raining. Yeah. Because all three likes the rain. Well, most of them anyway. And that is it. They've all spent a good night's sleep. They all recovered their spells. They have recovered whatever hit points they should have recovered according to their own method of healing themselves. And now they all get back up in the morning. Anvara waking up after spending a lonely night inside of a small village shrine with a bit of a damp morning. Fisher standing guard inside of their cart with their bounty inside it. Audience, Valtteri and Raimi waking up inside the inn. So, what would you all like to do?
I would like to get breakfast.
Well, of course.
Another whole salmon.
I think I ate all the meat the night before. I don't think. Oh, another whole salmon. Tuna. It was tuna.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that much, but a good hearty breakfast as always.
Of course. A good hearty breakfast. So we're gonna go with a modest or comfortable one.
Probably comfortable.
Comfortable. Wow. All right. So it's gonna be 5 silver, and you are going to get one heck of a morning breakfast.
Barely a penny for me.
All right, Valtteri, what do you do when you wake up?
Because I think my good berries still are working because it hasn't been 24 hours since I casted them. I'll eat one of those and then go downstairs.
All right. So you eat one of your good berries, you feel your stomach slightly full. You go down the stairs and find yourself in front of audience, eating bacon, eggs, some sort of mushy thing in a bowl. A few vegetable, but not too much. You know, it's a dragonborn. They don't like these things. It's garnish, not food. And probably...
I'll go sit down next to him.
And probably a very impressive piece of meat for a breakfast.
Yeah, I'll sit down next to him.
Good morning, Valtteri. How are you?
Good morning. I had a good night, and you?
Feeling great, you know. It's excited to head back into the mines and figure out this problem. Hoping for, you know, some good bouts of combat and perhaps some uncovered secrets.
Sure.
You've been out of the fight for a while, so I'm sure you're just raring to go.
Sure. It just feels nice to be kind in our world again.
Yes. Our world's expanding. The dragon's power grows every day.
Sure. If you say so.
Would you like anything?
Oh no,
Bacon?
I'm
Eggs?
I'm good. I just ate upstairs.
Ah, very well.
All right.
So, do you know where the others are, or?
I mean, I thought these guys were early risers, but it seems that they are perhaps hiding from the tasks at hand. Their beds.
I mean, Fisher's probably outside as we know him, but
Yeah.
I don't know the other two as well as you do, so yeah.
I mean, the priest Anvara doesn't ever, really sleep with us. She goes off to some, I don't know, cleric hellhole or whatever.
Yeah, she's an elf, so I have some of them in my tribe also. They only meditate, so
And Remy,
they
well,
usually don't sleep.
he has not quite, it seems, yet learned the phrase, the early bird gets the worm, as he is not yet with us.
Speaking of worm, Remy, what do you do when you wake up?
So, quick question: do these rooms have windows?
Some of them, and yes, yours has one. Small window.
Okay. Yeah, so the thing is that he did wake up early. However, he spent like the first 45 minutes to an hour shining up the gems that were from previously until they shined in the sunlight.
Very good.
And once he was satisfied with his job, he goes skipping down toward the common area. Sees audiences, gets excited, then also knows Valtteri and immediately skids in his stop.
Remy, finally up. Come, join us. Bacon, anything?
Remy just kind of stares at Valtteri.
I stare awkwardly back.
Audience looks between the two of them and then goes, "I'll ref your staring contest. 3, 2, 1, go."
We have a three-way staring contest. All right. Well, if you both want to do this, actually do this staring contest, I'm gonna say that it is a intimidation contest. So, Valtteri and Remy, if you want to see who is the first one who is going to look away, both do intimidation, and whoever has the highest roll is the one that doesn't look away.
That should be doing this in the bowl.
I don't know how to feel right now, but I just roll a natural 20.
Yeah, there's really no way of beating that.
Unless you have a
With
natural 20
zero
also.
charisma, so...
Not that. 15 total, but...
Yeah, 15
I
total
have
with
zero charisma.
against a natural 20. For some reason, Remy, she looks so intimidating right now.
Yeah, so he does blink. In fact, in fact, there's now literally a cloud of dust where Remy used to be. In fact, hold on. Let me see what a stealth gets me real quick.
I didn't meant to do that.
What's my stealth modifier again? I think it's a 7. No, it's an 8. So with a 24 stealth, Remy has disappeared.
So basically what you see is you see Remy in front of you and you're both awkwardly watching one another, and then suddenly you see him blink, look at the table, and then he just bolts under the table, and when you look, make a perception roll.
17.
He's gone. You look under the table and where'd he go?
I then look confused at audience. I'm like, is this normal?
Audience just raises her hand. We have a winner.
Okay. Is this normal?
No,
Actually, I'm also now going to do a sleight of hand.
four.
It's like Randy is probably too terrified to get out of his hiding place, but probably still hungry, so probably gonna just steal from an audience's plate.
All right, do a sleight of hand check. See if you can steal a piece of bacon or something like that.
Yeah, that will be a 22.
22, yeah, you're beating the passive perception of both these characters. So, unbeknownst to audience, as you are raising the hand of Valtteri in the air, a piece of bacon and a piece of sausage disappears from your plate. When you look back down, I thought that... Oh, well, I must have eaten it. All right. Anvara, as you wake up from this damp night inside this small village shrine, which you gave a little bit of money so that he could repair the roof, but it's still not repaired. So it's been raining inside this shrine for a bit over half of the night. And I can't hear you.
His mic.
No?
No, yes.
Sure. Okay. I don't know, I'm just gonna have oatmeal with the caretaker and make my way to the tavern to rejoin the others.
Alright, so you wake up, you find the caretaker, and as he's in there, he barely arrived, started to place a bit of incense, and just like you, I hope you didn't have too poor of a night. It's really a small village. We really don't have much to offer unless you like goat meat and milk and cheese.
I mean, that's perfectly fine. But when I come back, I want to see this place looking fit for our god.
Oh, yeah, well, it always depends on the generosity of the followers who come here every morning. You know what it is to live off the goodwill of the followers of... And he turns around and points toward all of these effigies and small statue of all of these gods.
All too well.
Yes. Well, I don't have much, but you can always come and eat with me.
Yeah, I'll eat with him this morning, and once that's over, I'll head over to that.
It's, like you said, a bit of oatmeal, but instead of being mixed with warm water, it's being mixed with...
How much lower can you get from warm water?
No, actually, I was gonna say with room temperature goat milk.
Fucking yum.
It's still like the warmth of the goat because it's fresh from the goat.
Yeah, you just lifted the goat over my bowl.
Most likely it's from the day before. They did actually know how to preserve things for a few days during the Middle Ages. For everything.
But it would be more fun, like, like a really strong dude just coming with a goat.
Well, yeah, actually, well.
It's like a medieval, like barista's, like latte machine.
And here's what you do: you put the you put the fresh into the bowl, and then you prestidigitate it until it's super warm.
No, you actually just need to hold Monster the goat in place, and then once it's immobilized, you just pour it inside.
Gross.
All right, Fisher. As you slowly get out of your sentry rest, you did notice during the night that Orunak did come and join you when the rain stopped. And he's actually just been sitting there, watching you. Watching every twitch that you have. Seeing kind of reflex that you... from time to time you can hear him say, "Oh, that's interesting. Oh. Alright. I'll have to remember that." You don't really know what he's referring to because, you know, it's your normal sentry rest. You just stand there and from time to time you look left, you look right. But he seemed to have found it interesting. So, you come out of your sentry rest in the morning. What do you do?
I'll look over to Onak. Did you have fun sightseeing?
Oh, well, it's been the same sight every hour since it stopped raining, so... But it's interesting. Did you know that every time you look left, there is a small vine that appears on your neck? It's very faint, but it's sort of a twisted vine.
No, I did not. Cool.
And also, your feet sometimes moves. Just sort of a reflex, but you have one toenail that just keeps... And then it stops.
I guess I never really... Yeah, I just kind of sit... I think I'm sitting still. Guess nobody's ever just stayed up and watched me all night. That's kind of...
Well, I've never watched a
weird.
A living pile of twigs, branches, stone, and metal before, so it's kind of a new experience for me.
Well, glad I can help broaden your horizons.
Well, we are inside of a barn. They can't be really broad, but anyway.
That's not okay. I was just gonna wait out here until everybody else came out because, you know, they're in there eating, and I don't need to. So,
well, I can actually go very long without eating.
do you eat?
Sorry?
Do you eat?
Oh, of course. There's the sunlight. There's the water. A few minerals inside the ground. It's always fun to plant your feet. Just let them dig deep.
Cool.
And of course, there's the elemental energy flowing everywhere. That's always very appetizing. Although in mountains, for me, the taste is a little bit stale. but
Uh,
sort
that's
of
too bad.
sort of like eating really old cookies.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what that's a yeah, that comparison is lost on me.
Oh. Well, then in that case, let's say chewing on nearly petrified small roots.
Yeah, no.
We all know what that's like.
Well, sorry, it's not great because it sounds like we're gonna be here for a bit longer.
Don't worry too much about it. I've been called in places far more unwelcoming than this.
Speaking of which, it's a good chance we're gonna be heading underground here today, and if you do need to rest, can we summon you in like rock, or does it have to be like ground?
It's you have to plant the acorn in something that will allow something to grow. Doesn't need to be ground. It can be muddy. It can be dry ground, but it's not gonna work in salt water. It's not gonna work in rock. Some people have managed to summon tree elementals in desert, but it sort of takes a specific environment.
And how much dirt, I guess, are we talking about? Like, if we brought like a pot down there.
I've actually never tried, but I'd say there's going to be a problem because if you do that, I'm going to be cut off from the elemental energies of the world. I guess you could always bring a large quantity of dirt and just let it fall on the ground and summon me inside that. I don't know if it's going to affect the time needed to summon me, because the ground will have been disconnected from the elemental energies for a while. But you'd need to try.
Fair enough.
Anything else?
I'm just gonna sit there staring at stuff until everybody else comes out at the end.
Alright. Well, in that case, Ovenak is going to stare at you, staring at stuff.
Sounds good.
Alright, so, audience, Valtteri, and Remy, hidden from view, you all keep on... Well, I'd say just audience, you keep on eating your breakfast while Valtteri is watching you awkwardly, and there's a few villager entering the place and, you know, just gathering together before they start on their day. The inn is more used as a gathering place in this instance. They're not actually going to eat there. Members of the village, they don't do that much. There is someone coming down from the stairs. It's the Dragonborn. He's oddly, for Dragonborn standards, he's oddly discreet. He just comes down the stairs with a cloak and hood up, goes to the counter, asks the innkeeper for something, then just goes to a corner and sits down, waits there. Dragonborn are usually a bit more vibrant. But this one seems to be discreet for Dragonborn standards. Other than that, there's no one else coming down from the stairs. Peasants only come in, and as soon as few people gather, you see them leave in groups. Most likely, Anvara, you see the end of this group, as the first thing that a lot of people did during these times was start their day with a prayer to whatever god they felt would help them most during the day. So, Anvara, as you finish eating your oatmeal and
Goat meal.
goat milk, room temperature goat milk, you see these people starting to gather around, and some of them go directly for one statue and they start praying to the statue.
All right. Are any of them coming to a representation of light? Like the...
Let's see.
Because that's the only one that matters.
Oh, wow. Actually, there is... Most of the people seem to be going to one of two statues. There's a good quantity of them. Actually, most of them are going toward a statue that represents a god which you probably feel like is associated with mountains, life in the mountains, as he seems to be a bit dwarven in appearance, but very sturdy. It feels like his muscles have been carved to look like boulders. Wearing, he has a large hammer in his hand. The face doesn't look like dwarvish too much. Usually dwarves have thick beards. This one barely has small mutton chops on the side. It's sort of a weird mix between halfling and dwarf in appearance.
Okay, so it just looks like a really buff halfling.
Yeah, a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, but there are a few people going toward divinities related to life and animals.
All right, I can get behind that. I'll head over to the ones that are more like going towards the ones that represents life. Just join them for prayer.
All right. So it is not exactly your god, but you know that because of how things are in the Shattered Continent, your god is not going to take offense by this.
No, I'm just they're paying respects to a god who represents like something that is living, so it's not too far to stretch. Right.
So after a few moments, you finish your prayer. And you see other people coming in, leaving, a few dwarves, a few humans, just a handful of halflings. Eventually, prayer ends. Do you leave as soon as you finish your prayer, or do you wait until everyone leaves?
I'll wait till everyone leaves.
All right.
Just in case, like, some of them leave, like, you know, an apple core somewhere, just make sure the place is clean before I leave.
As far now.
Well, I guess on their way out, I'll just like wish them luck during their day and good tidings and that lovely religious nonsense.
Oh, come on, that's not very religious-like to call it religious nonsense.
Out of character.
Yeah, I know. All right. that means it would be all right. Oh, they take it. Sorry, they take it very well. They thank you and they go on about their business. You get the feeling they don't see many elves because some of them have a little apprehension, but nothing too big. It's just, oh, well, thanks. They leave. Get the feeling that this village is probably mostly visited by dwarves, dragonborn. They actually do have colonies in the mountains, so it's. But everyone knows that most elves, especially an elf who has cleric clothes, it's not dangerous. It's just slightly unusual.
Yeah, well, not terribly dangerous either, so.
All right. Well, it depends. Very soon you're going to be very dangerous to undeads.
Yeah, all the undeads we've been facing.
I also like to dress dangerously.
All right.
Shoes before pants. Let's go.
No. What?
Cereal is milk, cereal, then bowl.
In that order. All right. So, as audience, you finish eating. Valtteri, you just look at everyone gathering and leaving. And Remy, do you stay hidden under the table for...
He's still there, just kind of like nibbling on audience's sausage.
Christ.
The sausage that he stole. For those who might be watching. Alright. So you stay there on the table, nibbling under what you stole from audience plate. And audience, once every so often, you just look at it. The bacon was larger last time I looked. Oh well. After an hour...
Did audience even notice the Dragonborn?
I mean, I probably noticed him. I think it was more just like, I mean, I was probably like, that's, he seems a little bit like, it's not any like really thing of concern for me or anything.
No, it's a bit why I said he's discreet for Dragonborn, because for a human, it's hard to miss. He came down the stairs, made a bit of noise, standed completely erect in the room, looked around. But for a Dragonborn, he's wearing a hood. He doesn't have any visible armor. He's not talking in a way that everyone can hear. So, it's a bit odd for a Dragonborn, but Dragonborn almost should have a negative passive stealth. So, after a little while, audience finishes eating, and Valtteri, you just watch him eating. And actually, from your... You also have a good passive perception. Not good enough to see Remy steal from audience's plate, but you do notice that from time to time, the plate seems to be emptying itself faster than what he's actually eating.
Are you like storing some of your food in your pockets, or why does your plate keep getting emptier quicker than you actually eat?
Food always does seem to disappear faster than I would like.
I was expecting something like this. And
I
as-
mean,
just as the audience says this, Anvara, you most likely arrive in the inn at that time, hearing audience say food usually disappears faster than. Just as you enter, you hear him say that.
Well, I know. I'm not terribly surprised.
you know, I still have good berries, right? So
Is
you
that the-
don't need food.
But I like food.
Well, I was thinking of giving some to Remy, but he just seemed to disappear. Where did that bird go?
Hiding under the table, eating people's meat.
Well, since you
Eating
weren't
audience sausage.
nibbling on the audience sausage, to be exact, yeah. From time to time, he is there, and there's something. It's keeps.
Something's tugging on my tunic.
Audience would probably, though, I will say, eventually go outside because he'd probably wonder where Fisher was.
All right.
Or if Fisher was still. He'd probably be like, I hope Fisher's okay.
All right. Well, that's easy enough to do. You finish eating, and Anvara and Valtteri is there, and just get up. And do you follow him, or do you stay there talking to one another a bit? For the both of you, Anvara and Valtteri, you met half a day ago.
Yep.
Raimi is going to see if he can use the advantage of audience's size to sneak out.
All right, make a stealth check. See if you can move in the shadows that audience is creating.
Only a 23.
Well, it beats everyone's passive perception, so
By a meager 8.
Well, that's kind of what happens when your stealth is +8.
I was going to say, since you are trying to leave with audience, I was going to give advantage to audience passive perception, but even by doing that, it doesn't cover it doesn't cover your roll. Even if I give him double advantage, I think it doesn't cover the roll. No, your
Yeah,
passive
he's
perception.
literally this is what happened. He's because he's a raven Kenku, right? He is literally sneaking in audience's shadow.
Yeah.
His gigantic shadow.
And even if I give audience passive perception a +10, it doesn't cover your stealth. So even you, audience, don't realize that there is a small creature following in your shadow.
Nibbling on your sausage.
Well, that would be nibbling on your butt cheeks because you're going away.
Well, he's still nibbling on his sausage. He's still probably like in the shadows.
He's finished with the sausage and he's worked his way toward the buns.
God. Oh, emergency. Hang on. Just gotta mute myself. Keep
All right.
going. I will be back in like...
That's alright. Alright. Then in that case, we're going to go outside with audience, Remy. And since audience is looking for Fisher, well, there isn't 1,001 place where you can actually hide Fisher. It's a small village. There's maybe 3 or 4 buildings in the town square. And you have a cart in storage.
Yeah. No, I would probably head to the cart. I think I heard last night that he was planning to hang out there, so
Alright.
I'd assume that would be where he would be.
Then in that case, You easily find Fisher in the storage shed inside the cart, watching over the carcasses of the Umber Hulk, with Orunak just watching him watch the carcasses slowly rot.
Good morning, Fisher. Did you never come inside?
Why would I?
I guess fair enough. Well, I am finished with breakfast. Hopefully we can head out soon and figure out what's going on.
Been ready since I woke up.
I mean, if you didn't go to sleep, how did you wake up?
From my rest.
Remy peeks out from behind audience and gives a wave.
Hey, Remy.
Audience, this is the first time you realize that Remy is here.
Oh, hey, Remy. Didn't notice you there. Yeah, so I guess I think everyone's eaten. If we can get our group together, we should probably be able to go if everyone's ready.
Where exactly are we going?
I assumed back to the tunnel where we last saw the footprints.
Remy nods.
Okay. And we're just gonna follow them until something happens?
That was my plan.
Okay. I mean, yeah, as long as, you know. Yeah. We could be down. Who knows how far that tunnel goes? We could be down there for a very long time.
Well, we'll figure it out as we go.
The ants always know where they need to go.
Yep. Okay. Is everybody here?
I'd say the only two people missing are Valtari and Anvar.
We're just awkwardly staring at each other.
In the inn?
Yeah, we're just like, so, you're a girl too, huh?
Alright.
I think.
Hold on, let me check. Yes.
Would you like to have a conversation that doesn't include a man?
Hmm. I don't know. So how about them clouds? Funny things.
We don't have to talk if you don't wanna. I'm not forcing you to.
That's not.
Yeah.
Acknowledge
I'm
and
also
appreciate your
not
presence.
really-
We do not have to socialize.
Yeah. Good. I'm also not a person who's really into talking. That's more audience thing.
But yo, for real, this is mildly distracting. Sorry, just got my girlfriend just sitting across my legs giving me looks. I'm just like, God damn it. I'm doing something.
Anvara hears in her head, the wolves are about ready for the hunt.
But Remy's only thinking because audience talked to him. Senpai noticed me.
Like you hear that, Anvara hears that in her head.
I'm gonna take that, like, there's something prowling around us and just, like, dart my eyes around real quick.
Is everything okay?
You didn't hear that? Oh, wait. I'm just
Hear
like,
what?
I'll just roll int to realize it was actually just the Kenku messing with me. I rolled a 13. I think
So, so Remy, what you heard after saying that was 6 seconds of what Anvara actually said to Valtaria after.
Raimi, like in the company of audience and Fisher, just has this puzzled look on his face.
What is it, Ramy?
I've never met a goldfish that didn't know how to breathe.
Neither have I. Cool.
Windows.
Is everybody else still inside, audience?
I believe so. Do you want me to go get them?
I mean, we can go get. I mean, we're leaving the cart here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it is. No
Maybe
need
we'll try to
bring-
send another message. The pack is ready to hunt. Move out.
Are you sending this to Anvara again?
Anvara again.
I think that Anvara's spirit is offline. Because the image is frozen both on Skype and on OBS. So I think that Anvara's spirit is stuck.
You're just getting a busy signal.
Deet, deet, deet.
Anvara.exe has stopped working.
No, actually, Anvara is still
Restarting the system.
Anvara is actually in front of you. It's the spirit that's gone. So suddenly you see AFK appearing on her head.
Like the loading symbol on YouTube.
All right. Well, so that the game moves along, well, why don't you send your message to Valtteri instead?
Do we even have that connection already?
Well, he's seen you before, so he can send you something, but he doesn't know you very well. You can't predict whether it's going to work or not.
Yeah, because it never happened before to me.
Also, Raimi just wouldn't think to do it.
Alright, audience, you
Yeah,
should go grab our friends.
Alright. Audience will head inside. Let's do the best to go
Okay.
grab rest.
All right. Well, then in that case, you easily see audience going back inside the inn, and Valtteri and Anvara, you both see audience entering.
While we're looking at each other awkwardly.
Yes, and right now, oddly enough, Anvara is looking at you with a blank stare.
You guys ready? The rest of the group is outside. We're ready to go.
Sure. I think I broke her.
We'll assume Udvara just says yes.
That's what I was gonna say. No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
He left the conversation.
Oh, all right. Well, at least we know now. We're gonna just make sure that we don't. Here we go. All right. Well, let's hope he comes back.
Maybe his internet.
I think that just before his image froze, he was saying something about Windows, so maybe his computer crashed.
Hmm.
All right, so she says, no problem. Let's go. And you all wake up. You all get up and in the storage shed, where you see Fisher watching over the carcass and Orunak watching over Fisher and also looking at Remy a few times. And how does Remy react to Orunak?
Today he pulls out one of the gems and holds it up to him.
Oh, okay. Well, that's, is it for me?
He's going to like tilt it a little bit to try to catch the sunlight.
He's trying to burn it.
No.
All right, this is very enigmatic. Am I supposed to take it? Am I supposed to help you do something with it?
Like he holds out a second gem and he holds it up in front of his face and just kind of like admires it and then holds out the other one toward him.
All right. Oh, all right. Looks like Anvara is going to have trouble coming back with the group. Apparently, there is a problem with her Wi-Fi and her computer. So we'll just hope that he can actually manage to come back with us before too long. All right. So he looks...
And Remy will say, some activities are best done with friends.
All right. So you want me to look at your gems with you?
He nods.
All right. Are we looking for something specific in those gems?
He shakes his head.
Okay. Then he just gently grabs one and... Do you let it go?
He lets it go.
All right. Then he looks at it. Of course, his face is a bit different than yours, so you're not too sure what he's really doing, but he's looking and he does what you're doing. He puts one in front of you and looks at you through the gem. That's interesting custom. Usually when this happens, dryads want me to keep the gem, but hey, you're not a dryad, so that was very interesting and educational. Thank you. And he hands you back the gem.
Some activities are best done with friends.
Yes.
And he makes a rainbow.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, apparently I did the right thing. All right. Let's go then.
In the
Finally.
meantime, Valtry's just excitingly going to fish and like, did you see any animals coming by? Because
Did
of
I
the
see any
carcass.
animals come by?
Yes, a few. Raccoons, few rodents, but since you're there and that you move from time to time, and then there was Orunak for half of the night, just staring at you and moving once every so often, changing place, and then again starting to look at you. Well, most animals didn't come very close, but a few of them actually managed to get inside the cart and try and nibble on some of the leftover whatever was inside, because since you're not actually proficient in taxidermy, you probably left a few bits of flesh in it. So,
yeah. I mean, there was some like raccoons and stuff. I mean, not much came close because I was standing here, and I was a little distracted because Onak was staring at me all night.
You just see like a childish excitement sparking in her eyes. Oh, I wished I was outside as well, but yeah.
Well, you need your sleep.
Yeah.
We should get going.
Yes.
Should we tell the foreman that we're going to explore the tunnel? Or just kind of
I'd say if he asks. I already have an excuse if he asks. Otherwise, I think we just go for it.
Fair enough.
Should the fox give the farmer fair warning?
No. I think I'm starting to get his things.
I didn't even understand it at all what that meant.
Do you say that as Valtteri, or did you just say that as...
No, that was out of character.
Alright.
I have no idea what that meant.
Because you could have, if you don't know what he's saying, especially since Fisher just said that he was starting to get a good feel about how he talks, you could have asked Fisher.
She just looks at him completely confused at Fisher.
Let's go. We're wasting daylight. That will be gone as soon as we head into the mine.
Sure.
You can feel the excitement of this group. I mean, we are going back underground, and we have someone who is just speaking in riddles, and then someone who is not understanding riddles and is not liking the quest. And oh, this is gonna be interesting,
Sooner we finish this, sooner we can get back to the garden.
Sure.
So yeah, we're going back to the mine.
All right, then. Well, I'm not the one driving the cart, so go ahead.
I thought we are not taking the cart with us.
Oh, we're not taking the cart. All right. Oh, hold on. I have to get down from there. You see Aruna just starting to wobble a bit, walk, and then jump down the cart. All right. Let's go.
All right.
Adventure. Yay.
So I guess we make our way back up to the mine.
All right. Well, it doesn't take you very long to get back to the mine. It's just a few hundred feet, so it's most likely just a 10-20 minute walk max if you're dragging your feet a bit.
Audience is not dragging his feet.
He's heckin' ready. So is Fisher. Fisher wants to get this over with.
All right.
Where's Valtteri in this order?
All right. Valtteri, where do you stand? Back? Right after Audience and Fisher? almost with Ovunak,
I guess.
who walks a little bit slower than everyone else, so he's lagging behind a bit.
Kind in the middle. Like between Fisher and audience and Ornak.
Raimi is trailing with Olmec.
Oh, goodness. So, yeah. You were talking about Fox. You know a lot about Fox?
Thinks on it for a moment. It's actually, let's see if he takes that question like super seriously. That's gonna be. Would that be like a nature?
Yeah.
So that'll be 11.
Well, no, you don't know a lot about Fox. You've seen them because a lot of them can be seen near cities, but oddly enough, for a rogue who has this high of passive perception, you haven't met a lot of Fox.
Amy just shakes his head.
Oh, okay, I see. Well, you know that a lot of foxes are smart enough to use diversions. So sometime they will actually try and get seen by the farmer, so that the farmer goes where they were seen, but they're not there anymore. Clever fox.
And Raimi will respond, "Tricks of the trade, Raimi. Tricks of the trade."
Yeah! Hey, Fisher, I think I'm starting to understanding also.
Well, at least we'll have some people that do. I'm sure you could only take so long going unheard.
Yeah.
Hurry up.
Oh, sorry.
Telling the tree to hurry up. He's faster than most trees.
But he goes only at 25 because he's a bit slower than the average 5-foot person, but still. Alright, so you all easily get to the mine, you get to the entrance of the mine. Again, you find it's pretty early in the morning, so you find a few dwarves still talking to one another at the entrance of the mine, and a few of them are actually entering. There are a few of them who are actually coming out of the mine, so feels like there might have been a night shift, or dwarves are so used to living below the earth that they don't have the same life cycle as a lot of people.
I'll snag one of the dwarves coming out.
Yeah, yeah. What?
Were there any attacks since through the night?
Not that I've heard of. They've only started to send a dwarf back there, but it's only been a few hours, so so far we haven't heard any screams. No one's come back bloodied, but hey, they haven't ended their shift yet, so you never know. Maybe some of them
Fair
won't
enough.
be coming back.
I'm sure you're tired. Go have yourself a however much you drink.
Yeah, it's a small village, huh? You can't expect too much from them. Yeah, sure. Thanks, and still, be careful if you're going back in. Bram seems a bit odder than usual. I mean, he's been avoiding talk a bit with the other dwarves. I know he's the one who started this excavation, but
How long's that been going on?
not for too long. A few days. He's been a bit more quiet than usual, but he still gives out all the orders. You actually met him. You know, he was.
The one shouting at everybody?
Yeah, yeah. It's probably him. Yeah, he's been a bit more quiet than usual. A few days. Actually, now that you mention it, probably the attacks that have been weighing on his mind. He's been a bit more quiet than usual ever since these attacks started. So maybe in a few days he's gonna go back to his normal self. It was always fun to be around in any tavern. He's been missing a few nights, you know.
What do you mean missing a few nights?
Oh, he stays in the mine all day long. Usually he always used to come back to drink with us, but ever since these attacks started, he's been a bit more absent than usual.
Does he just like sleep in there?
Probably. He does have a small office dug out at the back of the hall.
Oh. I'm sure he'll be fine in no time.
Yeah, probably. If everything's been solved and the attack stops, in a few days we'll probably see him back at the tavern drinking with all of us.
We're just going back in to make sure everything's job's finished. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can't argue with that. You know, it's from time to time it happens that you lose a friend in there because a shaft collapses, or you know, someone just got lost. Started to wander about in tunnels, and then their light went out and they got lost. But it's a bit unusual to lose so many friends to a creature down here. Usually it's safer than this. And honestly, those who asked us to come here, they were pretty sure that nothing was wrong with this place, so it was a bit even more odd than usual.
Who asked you to come here?
Oh, actually, it's I don't know all that well that person. I mostly spoke to Bram. Tall fellow. I think it was looked like human, maybe half elves. Half elf. I don't know. It's not someone that we actually see very often. There was something very charismatic about that person, though, and you know, felt like he was wiser than his years seemed to suggest.
Interesting. Well, thank you again for your time.
No problem. Well, I was gonna say good hunting, but it's better for us if you're not going on a good hunt. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Alright.
We'll continue in.
Yeah.
Alright, well, you go back in and you see some dwarves coming in and some dwarves leaving. And mostly they're beginning or ending their shift.
if we can find like a break between little moment where there don't seem to be any dwarves within earshot.
Well, it's a very large hall. You could just go along some of the walls and just wait for a few moments where there's a gap inside the coming and going dwarves. It's probably fairly easy to find.
Alright. Yeah, I'll call everybody over. Like, so I don't know. You guys want to maybe if Raimi wants to sneak into Bram's office, see if there's anything there before we head down. If we can get a moment. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I'll turn to Raimi. Would you be up for that?
You can never be too short on intel, Raimi.
That's what I like to hear. So, can we just see if it is Bram, right?
Yeah, that's
right?
the name he said. Bram.
Okay. Is he currently in the hall?
Yeah, he's currently talking to a few dwarves coming up from one of the shafts. Not the shaft where you hunted the Umber Hulk. He's talking to a group of dwarves coming from another shaft. Seems to be giving them orders.
Do you want me to go talk to him to give Remy time?
Yeah, probably a good idea. Can we see from here where his office is?
Make a perception roll.
That'll be a natural 20 for a 21.
Well, then, yes. And also because someone just told you that it was at the back of the hall, you just look around and immediately you see a door. The only one closed, the only one that seems to be just large enough for a single person, well, a single dwarf, meaning that the door is twice as large as the dwarf. But it does look like it's closed, and there is a name written on it. Does Fisher?
No.
All right. Well, there is a name written on it, but you can't read what it says. But the letters look dwarvish. You've seen what dwarvish looks like.
Alright. Looks like his office is just over there. I don't know, Remy, you think that looks like something you could break into without drawing any attention?
Like Raimi looks toward the door, and how does it, about how much distance is there between that door and Bram himself?
I'd say it's about maybe 50 feet. It's mostly lit by oil lamp or something that looks like oil. So it's not a bright light. There's plenty of place where you could actually find shadows to walk from one shadows to the next. But yeah, if he turns around and look directly at the door when you're there, there's a good chance he's going to see you.
And so Raimi will think for a moment and respond, "When all play their part, the mission is done."
Alright. Sounds like that's a go. Maybe audience, you chat him up for a little bit. Raimi, you try and break in, And I don't know. I'll hang out with you, audience. I'll just, maybe we can position ourselves so he can't see the door.
All right.
We're big enough.
So this means that, again,
Just...
Anvara and Valtteri are going to be left there alone looking at one another. Hi.
Hi.
Nice clouds outside, huh?
Yeah. Why is she always into clouds?
Well, there's a joke I could do here, but it would be
Accidentally says that out loud.
So that is what Valtteri is thinking. Like, what is she up to with clouds?
I really like cumulus clouds.
All right. Fortunately, I only know one type of cloud, so. All right. So.
I know the one that looks like the ship on Star Trek.
All right. Yeah. I've seen one of those in a very specific place when I was walking. So. Looks like the end of the world. All right. I'll tell you more during the break, which will probably be very soon. All right. So, audience and Fisher, you move toward Bram. Well, actually, audience directly toward Bram. Fisher to give a better cover for Remy. So, I'd say the first one who does a roll would actually be Remy to quietly move toward the door. So, a stealth check.
Like, come on, Rogue, I believe in you. With an 18.
Total?
18 total.
18 total. Okay. All right. You're fairly confident that no one sees you. No one seems to be reacting to you moving from one place to the next. Then in that case, I would say, Fisher, I would have you roll a perception roll. Because you're trying to position yourself to make interference so that Remy is harder to see, while also being helpful to audience.
Let's go. That's going to be a 5.
Like, look at this dance I can do.
I trying to find Remy to position myself, and I just totally lost it.
You turn around to see where Remy is. Oh shit! I should have.
He's too good at this.
So you are completely oblivious to where Remy actually is and if your strategy is actually working. But you have a strange suspicion growing inside of you that you're probably not placed in the perfect of position. So, audience, how do you start this conversation?
I probably wouldn't. I'd probably just kind of casually walk up and kind of like hang out. Just kind of stand next to him. See if he says anything to me, because before he didn't even notice me. So I just kind of chill next to him.
Nice.
For a little bit.
Alright.
See if he responds.
In that case, I am
Wait for him to finish ordering dwarves around.
Yeah.
So, all in the hope that you act as interference, should he look toward the door at the end, or are you just waiting to see what happens?
Well, I'm kind of waiting because I don't know how long. We didn't really give a time frame for Remy, so I'd probably initially wait. I'd probably initially walk up to him, see if he says anything to me, and then I'd probably give it like a minute. Well, no, not even a minute. I'd probably give it like 30 seconds, and then if he says nothing, I'll probably bring something up.
All right.
Just to distract him.
feels like he doesn't even realize you're there.
All right. I would then probably, just be like, "Hey, how is the mine today?"
Oh, actually, it's been quiet for a change. It's good. No more new injuries. We just started sending our dwarves down there, so we'll see what happens. But hopefully everything turns out well.
Nice. Found any of that new ore you were interested in, or?
No, like I said, a lot of it was in that shaft, so we just sent the first shift of dwarf in there, so yeah, it's probably going to be with whenever they come back. Whenever they come back, there'll probably be some interesting stories. I am eager to see if it's going to be interesting or not. It's probably not going to be interesting, but well, you never know. Most of what we found was just copper, and would be a good change. Audience, I am sending you a private message because of your passive insight.
Okay.
He's staring at you hungrily.
That's it. Adding his name to the harem. Bard's into me. Okay. Alright. Audience will probably casually bow and be like, yeah, well, me and my group were, potentially gonna head back down a little later. Just, double check, make sure we did our jobs, make sure there were no remnants or any other creatures lying about, a thorough job, as they say. That's how my mother and father raised me.
Yeah, we get a lot of dragonborns around here. Most of them are on their way from Drakenmemoria, the port. Why is the port town? The port town near here, and some of them are coming from the inside of the island. Yeah, I've heard that you are very diligent in what you're doing. So, well, how about I give you a little bit of advice? Since what we're looking for is most likely further down the shaft, where we've started to dig out new holes, I'd say start there. If there was anything strange, it would probably be there. Probably be because of something that happened there.
I see. Well, thank you for the advice. So yeah, any news? Quickly, I'll look like I'm about to say, and then I'll turn back and I'll be like, quickly, just to make sure, no news of any of the scoundrel who was healing the Umhulk before. Has he disappeared? No new news of him.
I'm sending you another thing because he just rolled a natural 1, so your passive perception pick up something.
Okay.
Dwarf says, Nani?
Nani?
Yeah. No. Actually, there really was nothing. It's it was probably nothing. But yeah, like I said, if there's something interesting inside that shaft, it'll probably be at the end of the hall that we had been digging. So he's probably going to have gone there. Once he realized that his creature was no longer.
I'm gonna interrupt you real quick because I would interrupt the dwarf in the middle of his sentence. As he's kind of doing this long word, I'd pat him on the shoulder and I'd be like, "No need to be nervous. We'll take care of you and your men. I can see you're sweating a bit, but don't worry, we'll take care of it."
Oh, thanks. That's very gracious of you. And just for your diligence, how about we throw in maybe a handful of a gem that we found? We've actually found a quartz vein, so give you a few interesting gems. It's least we can do.
Oh, that would be great. Most appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah,
While this is going on, how long do I have to talk for? Where's Remy at this point?
All right. So, Remy, you made your way all the way to the door. No one seems to be reacting to your presence there. When you get to the door, what do?
He's definitely going to check the door to see if it's locked.
It is.
Of course it is. Then Ramy is going to unlock it.
Then, do you have your thieves tool?
Yeah.
Are you proficient?
Comes with the class. Yep.
Then in that case, you can make a proficiency check with your thieves tool.
I am sort of like, I am waiting for like that kind of rogue. It's just like, my method of unlocking doors is breaking them down. Like, no one will ever know. That 16?
You start, look around, make sure no one's seeing you. Put your thieves tool in, start working the lock, and aha! You managed to unlock the door.
Yeah, so I guess looking to see if like anyone's still watching him, he tries to slip into the office unnoticed.
Make a perception roll.
That will be... that'll be 22.
All right. You look around, and no one seems to have noticed you. No one's reacting to you anyway.
He'll take that as a good sign and slip into the office.
All right. So you slightly push the door and wiggle your way through the ajar door, and we're going to take our break here. We have to take our break at some point.
Eventually.
And it's going to give us a moment to see if Anvara has a chance of rejoining with us. Alright, so see you all back in 10 minutes. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Alright, welcome back everyone. As you can see, Anvara is still not there. According to a message that we got, it is a window problem. Because, you know, those things never happen. So it is a window problem, and because the Wi-Fi is really not good where he is, it is a long window problem. So there is a very good chance that he will not be joining us again tonight. We'll see how it goes. If he comes back, well, Anvara will regain her free will. Otherwise, I am going to have to make her stare weirdly at Valtteri and Orunak. And who knows? If Anvara's soul doesn't come back, I might make it so that Anvara develops a crush for Valtteri. No, I don't think he's watching, because if he had, he'd be watching. So.
Instantly back.
Not again.
Not again.
We have been through this dilemma already. I don't know if she can take another one.
Well, fortunately, right now, the one who is going through this dilemma is Remy. And I only say Remy because audience really hasn't picked up that on Remy's interest. So he's...
And Remy, well, audience, to be fair, is constantly going through this dilemma, but just
not for Remy.
lots of different people.
You know, audience is basically a 15-year-old teenager. Every girl he meets is a possibility.
I wonder how Remy will react when audience meets one of his waifus again, and just seeing how Remy's getting really jealous.
Well, it depends on who it is. I'm pretty sure that if he looks at audience and Amiali, he's just gonna give up. She is not someone you can easily beat.
You underestimate a rogue.
And you underestimate a high-level monk.
Yeah, she's like a level, like, at least, like, 15 monk. I would not... I would not try that.
Alright.
Don't mess with her.
You assume confrontation.
I assume nothing.
I would only say you assume confrontation with Amiali. It's just gonna be playing for her.
I slowly see the traits in Remy becoming a yandere.
Alright.
Oh no.
So eventually Remy is going to discover he has competition. Alright. Let's go back to this discovery of what is behind door number 1. Because there's only one door, So Remy, as you push that door and enter into this office, well, first thing you realize that it is a dwarven office. It is much larger than what it needs to be, and much taller than what it needs to be. You do see in a corner there seems to be a place where someone can bake things, but it is completely out. You can't even feel any warmth from the embers of that thing. There is a large desk, a chair in front of it. There is a bookshelf in one corner, which seemed to be carved directly out of the wall. But everything, when you enter, it no longer feels like you're inside of a hole carved out of a mountain. It actually feels like you're inside a stone room. So the room itself doesn't have much. There is one chest on the opposite side of the desk. So the desk would be directly to your right, and on the other side, near the wall, there is a chest, a dwarven chest, meaning it's heavy, it's reinforced, and made of thick wood and heavy stone and metal. There are a few papers left on his desk, and the bookshelf seems to be half empty. So there are quite a few books, but not completely full. This is what you see when you enter. And of course, there is a light source. It feels like a lantern that's been carved out of the wall. But the light seems to be very dim right now, sort of as if it was reaching the end of whatever fuel is inside.
So I guess the first thing you'll do is like over and at least see what the papers are that are left out on the desk.
All right. What language do you speak? All right. Well, you look at the papers on the desk, and you can't make out what it says. There does seem to be some sort of plan. There is a crude map of one of the shafts, one of the corridor, but you're not familiar with which one it could be. Mostly because you haven't explored very deep into this mine. This map does look like, I keep adding those S's everywhere. Looked like it's just one long hallway that branches out a bit in a Y shape, and the left branch seems to end with a large chamber on it. And there are things written inside there, but you can't make out what it says.
At the very least, even though he can't understand it, maybe somebody else does. So he's going to nick the map.
All right.
And then and more specifically, he's going to look for he's going to try to do a cursory investigation of the room to see if there are any because he's kind of thinking if this guy has secret dealings, he's probably keeping things in a more secure place. So he's kind of looking for good places where suspicious areas.
Okay. Are you just doing that by looking around, or are you actually...
he's going to be feeling over, because, especially if there's, something like a loose stone in the wall, for example.
Okay, well then that
this
case...
is something you do with your hands.
All right, in that case, this is going to be investigation.
Okay. I believe in you, rogue. And my faith is rewarded with a 24.
Oh! All right. Well, it does take a while. The room is a bit larger than it needs to be. But you actually go around the room, and the desk seems to be all right. There's nothing that seems to be... that shouldn't be there. Nothing hidden inside what looked like seems... Sorry. Nothing seems to be something that could be pulled or be a secret compartment. You keep on looking. The place where there's a place where you can cook things. You do notice that quite a few things seems to have been burned there, but it's too badly burned to be able to recognize. But there are a few remnants of papers in there. But even looking at what you can with this, it's clear that they did a really good job at destroying what it was, because there's really not much of it left. The bookshelf, because it is carved out directly from the wall, you just keep pulling on things, but nothing happens. Nothing seems to be meant to be pulled away. Something interesting happens when you reach the chest, because one thing that does feel odd about this chest is that it's way heavier than it should be. As if someone made sure that it couldn't be moved easily. And it is really pushed up against the wall, so you can't even see behind the wall. It almost feels like it's been fused. You can even just pull one in your feather and try to make it go between the chest and the wall, and it doesn't even fit.
From what he can tell, the there's pretty much no virtual way of being able to move this thing.
Well, you'd guess that you need to be either very lucky on a strength roll, or or no, it's been intentionally placed so that it can't be moved, either to cover something behind the chest or make sure that no one can take away the chest. With your investigation, there's one thing that you do realize about the chest. The lock on it is extremely complex. A lot more than what you'd expect from a dwarf. It's more like the level of gnomes.
Does Rami get the impression that it would be possible for him to unlock it?
Make a perception roll.
I believe in you, rogue. It's 17?
17. From what you can tell, just looking at it, yeah, it would be possible, but difficult. You can even see that there might be an additional difficulty, because you can see extremely faint, it looks like runes carved all around the lock.
So is it a good enough... do I have a good enough view of those runes to possibly know what they symbolize?
Well, it could be decorative, but for a dwarf, that would be highly unusual to have something this fine. It does bear some resemblance with arcane symbol, meaning that you'd think it's either that it's magically protected or trapped. But with a 17, you really can't figure out which one it is. One thing that does seems to catch your eyes is a dwarf wouldn't use something that subtle.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so what Rami is going to do is that he is going to take a step, away from especially the actual area of the chest, and he is going to pull out the mage hand.
All right.
And he is going to attempt to unlock this chest using the mage hand instead of himself.
All right. Make a Thieves' Tool proficiency roll.
Please don't fuck this up. That is going to be a 19.
19. All right. So you start fiddling on this with your mage hand, and it feels like there's a lot more resistance than it should have. So you're doing your best to try and unlock this. You're going very gently, and then suddenly you hear a and then you see your thief tools fall on the ground. The mage hand has been dispelled.
He is now going to resummon the mage hand and see if he can open it.
All right. Hold on, the mage hand.
If this is the detail you're looking for, it doesn't activate magical effects.
No, I'm
but
actually...
it could still activate mundane effects.
Okay. That's what I was looking for. All right. You try to open it, and for a moment, you get the feeling that it's gonna work, but then you realize the mage hand is just not strong enough. The lid of this chest most likely weigh more than 10 pounds.
I figured as much. Then Raimi is going to try to open the chest from the side. He is not trusting a forward-facing chest with magical runes.
All right. Then you try and open the chest. Just because it has a bit of a weight, but it's not going to be a high DC. Make a strength check.
Please, Raimi, don't be weak. Right. Will a 13 suffice?
Total 13?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, you open the chest. You start opening the chest. Slowly, you hear the hinges of this.
He winces.
And then just when you open the chest large enough, I'd say 5-inch wide, you get a spectral hand that appears just in front and tries to grab directly in front of the lock. Then it relaxes because it didn't catch anything, and then it goes away. The hand looked like a bit... it looked a bit like the cantrip... where is it? Chill touch, yeah. But it was slightly more imposing. So maybe a variant of that. Maybe a leveled variant of that.
Trying not to think of how much that could have hurt.
So, so you manage to open the chest slightly, and you see enough to be able to see in it. The lid is very heavy, and you do manage to push it all the way so that it is resting on the wall. Inside of the chest, do you look?
He does look.
All right. So, inside of the chest, you see a few things. First of all, you see a few dwarven clothes. Seems to be clothes very similar to what Bram was wearing. You find a few other objects. There seems to be a small gem, green in color. There is a very dwarvenly carved dagger next to it. There is a very small box that has a lock on it. And there is a scroll case, closed, that is inside the chest also.
I don't know, like, would Raimi have enough space in his pack to put these things inside of there?
The dagger, the gem, and the small box, yeah, they fit really well. The scroll case would probably fit, but if someone tries to look, it would sort of feel like you're trying to steal a turkey, trying to hide it under your shirt. It would fit, but it would look odd.
Being on the precautious side, he's going to summon his mage hand one more time to pick up the scroll case.
All right.
And
the mage hand picks up the scroll case. Doesn't seem to be anything preventing it from grabbing it.
And then he's going to just outright open the case.
All right. The case opens fairly easily. It's only been closed with a simple knot using a leather string in front of it. So easily pull that apart and you open it. Inside there are quite a few scrolls in there. Don't look like magical scrolls.
Like, what do they look like?
Mostly. So you look at them. You take one on.
Yeah, I am going to take. Basically, I'm trying to figure out if these are even worth bringing along with me.
Well, actually, oddly enough, when you open that scroll and you look at it, you can read that. It's the Dashari's language, the Dark Elves' language. There are several pages written in Dashari Elves' language.
Okay, so, yeah, stuffing those, like, not taking the case itself, just the scrolls inside of it. He doesn't have time to read these right now.
Okay.
He's going to take, yeah, so, yeah, he's taking the gem, the dagger, the scrolls, and the
small box.
And the box. Putting that in his bag. And then he's going to try his best to... He's going to try his best to close this chest quietly.
All right. Let's say we're going to use an odd combination. Stealth strength check. So normally you have a +4 on your stealth because of your strength, but because you're using your because of your dexterity, But now, because you're using your strength to try and stealthily close the lid without it just falling and making a huge noise, it's going to be -2. So you actually only have a +2 on your stealth roll.
Oh wait, well, normally I have a +8.
You have a
stealth.
+8. There's +4 of that comes from your dexterity.
Oh, specifically from the dexterity. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're removing the dexterity and adding the strength modifier.
Which is a -2. So
Yeah.
only +2
That's-
for your
why,
stealth.
why do you think I was cringing when I had to make that strength check to begin with? This bird is not strong. Okay. That's gonna be a 12.
12. All right. You slowly start lowering the lid, but just as you're about to close it, it drops from your hand, and you hear a not very loud, but still very audible. And on the other side, where we have Fisher and audience talking with Bram, you actually hear inside the room a small resonating everywhere. And audience, you have a feeling that Bram just lost interest in what you were talking about. And
Can I
yeah,
summon my great axe to my hand and like bend over like I just picked it up off the ground after dropping it?
all right, yeah. I'd say roll a deception roll to see if you
Let's
can
go.
do this convincingly.
Straight -1. 8.
You rolled an 8. All right, let's see how Bram.
Please be dumb. Please be dumb. Please be dumb.
All right, Bram. Bram looks at you, Fisher, picking up your axe. He seems to be hesitating. Audience, since you're really almost in the face of Bram, you can see that he's looking at Fisher and doesn't seem to be quite convinced of that. He takes a look at the door of his office.
I'm gonna walk over to Fisher and be like, Fisher, you okay, man? Did you drop something? What's going on?
No, I'm good. I was, practicing summoning it, and I fucked up.
All right, I'm gonna allow this to be something like advantage. So, audience, roll for your deception.
Alright.
Better when the paladin does it.
It is better. It is better when the paladin does it. I get a +2. So do I roll or do I roll with advantage? Which one?
No, just roll. It's sort of
Okay,
like having
14.
14. You're lucky. He rolled a 13 on his perception when Fisher actually did that. So
Get that +2.
he looks at you and both of you and okay. He tears his eyes away from the door of his office, who has been left ajar because Remy never said he closed it. And he just looks at the audience and Fisher, and then goes back to the dwarf standing right beside him. Start giving him orders again.
Audience decide it's time to talk about one of the dwarves' favorite subject. So, Brant, you look like a man of taste. Do you have any certain dwarven alcohols you'd like to recommend to a fellow heavy drinker?
He answers, and oh goodness. All right. Because of this, because of weird circumstances, I am going to give you the equivalent of advantage on your passive insight. And because of that, you get to have this little bit of information.
He's actually a recovering alcoholic.
Yeah.
Shoot. His entire family died of alcohol poisoning as a dwarf.
It's like, I didn't think it was possible. It just came out of nowhere. Just one after the other.
Oh, how do you write this? Alright, I don't know how to write one of the words, so it might be completely butchered.
Okay.
Yeah. We actually, and he starts looking around, which is a bit uncharacteristic of a dwarf. And and he looks he looks toward the wall, which is about 20 feet away from the door, where all of the barrels are placed.
Oh, shit.
Yes, we have quite a few interesting reserve, or just over there. They are from the our own territories. Come from quite far away, actually, and even those of your kind have been very eager sometime to taste them.
I'll say, well, of course, come, show me.
All right. And
Let's take a walk over that way.
Let's take a walk over that way.
and
Genius.
he walks over all the way to the barrels and just starts looking at the barrels, and he seems to be looking for something. I think if you pair this with the message that you wrote, that I wrote you a few seconds ago, it does feel weird. And he's there and he's looking at all the barrels, and yes, I think it's this one here. And he starts pulling the barrel of ale and just and you see all the dwarf inside this place just turning simultaneously toward where the barrel just hit the ground. And Valtteri, you're in a really interesting place to see this reaction from every dwarf when a barrel hits the ground. It's sort of like they all became one, and they all looked at where the barrels are. And you see them all wait.
What expression do they have?
Mixed expectancies. It's always a good time for dwarves to drink. But is it a good time right now to drink?
So no panicky look, okay.
No. They're sort of all, you can see in their eyes, because if you have not that good of insight. It's mostly passive perception. No, insight is not so bad. You recognize anticipation in their look. They're sort of hoping that it's gonna happen, but also they know that it shouldn't be happening right now. So they're, should we or shouldn't we? When you look at the back of this huge hall, you see audience standing next to the dwarf in front of a huge barrel of most likely ale, judging from how the dwarf reacted. But you also notice the door where Remy tried to make his way, slightly ajar. And Remy, after a few moments, when you realize that no one was coming to see inside the office, what would you have done?
Like coming into that, coming into that realization.
Yeah.
That's a question. Just making sure. Just kind of like just looking back because it's like peeking out. Does the door have the ability to be locked from the inside?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. Because sometimes there's doors that literally you have to be on the outside and then you have to lock it manually that way.
Okay.
So just double checking that. So with that, he is going to turn that lock, and remove any traces, external traces that he was there, picking up his lock picks. And he is going to try and sneak his way out of the office while subtly closing the door behind him.
All right. Then first make a sleight of hand check to see if you can just take everything out and replace it without anyone noticing.
Hopefully 14?
All right. All right. And then a stealth check to see if you manage to leave this place, close the door, and walk away without anyone reacting.
Right, this one is for all the marbles. And I like these marbles better with a soft 20.
All right. So, Valtteri, I'm going to let you roll a perception roll.
Uh, 8.
All right. So you don't notice at all Remy leaving this place. However, you do notice that the door seems to have magically closed itself. But you looked at the door just as Remy finished doing his thing. So you sort of notice the difference of the door just... But you don't see him leave. You don't see Remy leave the place. But you have a feeling that the door was either closed because someone got in and closed it after, or someone got out and closed it after. You're not sure which one it is.
From the people I can see and stuff, am I smart enough to kind of think that Remy was successful, leaving, because that's the reason that there was this magical door opening and shutting.
Perception for pool of blood.
Well, actually, because you don't know which one he did, I'd say, yes, you are smart enough to figure out that he either got in without being noticed or got out without being noticed. But you don't know which one it is.
Got it. Okay.
So, audience, you see this dwarf just awkwardly opening the barrel and just pouring a little bit of the alcohol inside a mug. Now, here, have a taste, have a taste. I'm sure you will find it very interesting.
I'll say, well, I'm sure as you know in the old tradition, I can't drink unless you drink. Here, pour yourself a mug as well.
All right. He pours a mug also. And waits to see if you're gonna take a drink.
I mean, I'll clap mugs with him, and I'll kind of do the thing where it's like we both look at each other to see.
Slowly bringing the mug close to your lips.
Yeah.
He does drink it.
Okay. As he drinks, I'll drink.
All right. Audience, for a dwarf who just said that this alcohol was something that would even draw the attention of Dragonborn, you find that it is very bland and not strong at all.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I actually would have to figure out something.
All right.
Okay. I actually know a lot about dwarves. They were one of the races I studied. That's why I know Dwarven. So I actually have a higher chance to. Okay.
Figure out that this guy's not actually a dwarf.
Yeah. Or I have my suspicions that he's not actually a dwarf.
You might get double confirmation in a few minutes.
Okay, but would I do that? I think I would. Alright. Audience is gonna, you know, finish his mug in a single swig. He's gonna be like, "Come on, my man. You're holding out on me. This is weak stuff here." And he'll invite, and he'll beckon over 2 other dwarves. "Try this. This man's holding out on me. He says this is your finest ale. Are you really going to hold your credibility to this?"
Roll persuasion.
Shit. Like that, like calling the dwarven pride.
I am calling Dwarven pride. That's a unnatural 20.
All right. Immediately, when you say this, you sort of have a feeling that a lot of people were waiting for this, because the moment you turn around and say, "Come and have a taste at this," he's holding out, you almost feel like every single dwarf made one step forward at the same time, but then they all realized that you were pointing toward only a small group of them. So there's sort of a general feeling of disappointment in the room, with the exception of 3 or 4 of them who just and just come toward you.
Alright. I'll quickly pour them some mugs and pass them out. He calls this fine ale, he says. I've never had blander stuff in my life.
All right. Oh, goodness. Yeah, it's a bit too high for you, but all right. So immediately, well, it's not too high for Valtteri. Valtteri, you do notice something from your point of view, and actually Anvara would also realize this. So you're both looking at all these dwarves who just wanted to go, but were disappointed when only 3 of them went. But you do notice that the dwarf seems to be uneasy right now, and desperately looking around for...
You're cutting out for me right now.
Ah, yeah?
He's okay
fine
for me.
All right.
Yeah, it's on my end.
All right.
I only understood bits.
All right. So what I was saying is that when you look at all these dwarves trying to move toward this place where they're serving alcohol, you do notice that Bram seems to be unusually nervous. He's looking around everywhere, sort of feels like he's trying to figure out a way out of this situation that he most likely didn't want to create. Immediately, you see these 2 or 3 dwarfs coming in, taking the mug, and of course. I don't know why he gave you this. This is probably what you're looking for. And when you see one dwarf going further away, taking it on a barrel, and immediately there's another dwarf who says, nah, come on, you're not gonna give a dragonborn this. He's gonna fight. It's gonna be as tail as cat piss. Come on, give him this one. And the three of them start arguing on which barrel to have you taste. They really seem honest about this. And you do recognize the vigor of three dwarves arguing about which of these three L's is actually the one that's going to convince you that Dwarven L is better than any other L.
I don't know if this would help. Actually, give me 1 second, because I might... I don't think that would help. I'm trying to think, would that help? I mean, I'll cast it. I'll see if it helps. I don't think it would help, but audience would still probably cast it just to double check. I'm going to cast a Divine Sense.
Oh.
Just to see if I notice anything as an action. And it's going to be very focused. I don't know if I can focus Divine Sense, but it's going to be... I'm pretty suspicious at this point of Bran, because I know quite a bit about dwarves, and I know that a dwarf would never, especially towards a guest, and would never have like given an ale like this. So that made me very, very suspicious. So I'm gonna cast kind of my Divine Sense at Bran and see if I can notice anything off of that.
All right. You cast Divine Sense, and immediately you can feel. Divine Sense isn't something that you can focus on one person, but you get the feeling of everything inside the area, if I'm not mistaken.
As an action, you can detect good and evil until the end of your next turn. Then you can also sense anything affected by the hollow spell or know the location of a celestial fiend undead within 60 feet.
All right, so
the second part doesn't really matter.
Okay.
I don't think.
But the first one, when you focus toward one person, yeah, that's right. So you focus toward Bran?
Yeah.
And your Divine Sense does tingle. You sense evil from him.
Alright. Then I have another question. Remy, where are you at this point? Have you rejoined the party?
Yes, DM. Where is Remy at this moment?
Well, exactly. Where did you try to go? You managed to leave. No one seems to have noticed you leaving. You did notice someone turning their head when you tried to replace everything so it didn't look that you were there. But no one kept their attention on you as you were leaving. So you're pretty sure you're okay with this. So it would be up to you. Would you like to rejoin Anvara, Valtari, and Orunak, or try and make your way toward Audience Fisher, or simply go somewhere else?
I'll do you one better. Since Remy is going to take advantage of the chaos to outright sneak himself out of the mine, but before he can get too far out of range, Remy is going to send a message to Fisher saying, "The eggs are in the basket." I repeat, the eggs are in the basket.
Okay. Yeah, no, I get that. I'm gonna look around. The doors closed.
Yeah. And right now you're receiving this as this commotion is starting with three dwarves arguing which one is the Dwarven Ale, which is going to convince a Dragonborn that Dwarven Ale is the best ale. You receive this in your mind as this is going on.
I'll walk up to audience.
All right.
And just kind of, I don't know, tap him on the shoulder.
All right. As Fisher taps me on the shoulder, as this commotion goes, I'm going to turn back towards Fisher, and I'm going to mouth to him. Actually, no, I'm confident enough to say, I'm not going to even say think. I'm going to say, Bran is not a dwarf.
how loud did you say this?
I didn't say it. I just mouthed it to him,
Okay.
but I made my...
So, well, I'd say Fisher, just make a perception roll, and please don't roll 1.
Rolls a
10.
10.
Rolls a 10. That's enough. You know audience, and he's standing right next to you, so it's not that hard to figure out that you got you got this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to think how I would. I'll walk up to Bram and go, it's really not very dwarf-like of you to offer a guest such bland ale. Who are you really? And I'll summon my great axe.
Jesus.
All right, well, things are kicking off already.
Okay.
Audience seeing Fisher do this will also like draw his weapons and take kind of a stance alongside him.
All right. So how loud
Walter is
did you
just
say
face palming.
How loud did you say this?
Loud.
All right.
I am in front of his comrades, accusing him of
Not being a dwarf.
not being who he is supposed to be.
All right. Well, you definitely draw attention when you say this, because all of the dwarf that are next to you, so there are 3 dwarves plus him and a few others who have been slowly making their way, hoping that they would actually be able to taste a bit of ale, even though they weren't actually targeted by audience invite. And you see these 5 dwarves just stop when you say this, and they all turn toward Bram. Bram looks toward you, and this is... How dare you be so impertinent?
I talked to one of your workers on the way out when we were coming in, and he said you'd been acting weird the past couple days. Different than Bram would normally act. I'll turn kind of like, not break eye contact with him, but kind of do like the turn back to the other dwarves. So, like, anybody else notice anything different?
Can I add on to what he's saying as he finishes his sentence? I'll also be like, and as many of you know, paladins have the ability to sense good and evil in a creature, and I definitely sense a darkness from you.
Oh wow. You definitely see Bram becoming extremely nervous as you do this, and he's looking frantically around him, looking at the other dwarves, and you hear one dwarf say, "Oh, actually, you're right." And Bram looks around and just tries to make one step away, and then you hear another dwarf say, "Well, I was wondering why there wasn't any ale at the end of the last shift." Then another dwarf just said, Yeah. That's kind of odd. And slowly everyone is starting to gather around this. And you start hearing other dwarves just whispering. Some of them just, yeah, there's been something odd around here ever since these attacks started. Then another one says, you're right. Ever since these attacks have started, you've been acting funny, Bram. What's up with that? He tries to take a few steps away. He looks
Can
around.
I grab him by like the shirt collar?
Alright. Make a dexterity check because he's trying something also. Whomever is going to have the highest roll will act first. It's basically an initiative between you and him.
6.
4.
Ha!
He is panicked. He is not thinking quickly right now.
I'm not
Reactions are
kidding.
still low.
I got.
Let's go.
So you see him raise his hand, and then you place your hand on him, and he sort of freezes for a moment, and he looks at you.
So, now would not be the time to try something clever.
I'll say now that he's frozen, I'll go put my hand on his other shoulder just to assist in case he tries anything.
Come on, fellows. They've been treating you well. Why the sudden mutiny?
Is this towards us or the other dwarves?
No, he's turning toward the other dwarves.
Or go. I think the real mutiny here would be allowing you, whoever you are, to keep impersonating their friend.
They rolled with advantage because you said that. The dwarf, all the dwarves seems to now be focused toward where you are. Valtteri, you can also see this from where you are. Everyone seems to slowly be moving toward what's happening, and the dwarf that Audience and Fisher are both grabbing seems to be panicking, trying his best to convince other dwarves to come back to reason. You do see him trying to look around, and because of your passive perception, unfortunately, Remy, you're too far away to notice this.
Yeah, I'm realizing this. It's like, oh shit, things are going down, and I'm just trying to sneak away.
Valtteri, you hear Anvara slowly look toward this dwarf, and she whispers to you, he's trying to figure out when to do something.
I'll whisper back, well, the question is, what is he going to do?
Would she recognize this? It's a bit... No, it's too far-fetched. Alright.
You recognize the
By
hand
By the
of
way,
or fire.
when I'm grabbing him,
Yeah.
am I grabbing him? Or am I grabbing somebody in an illusion?
No, you're grabbing him. You're grabbing a dwarf.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I'm pretty sure this goes past illusion.
Just wanted to double check.
So he's looking around. Valtteri, Anvara doesn't say anything because she can clearly see Audience and Fisher with their hands on him, and she just can't put her hand on it. But feels like he's trying to prepare for something, but just can't find the right moment to use this. Too many eyes, too many people arguing, too many... Like someone who's trying to get out of a
Either
trap.
he's... Yeah, I was saying, like, he's trying to look for a moment to run away. Can I see if he's, like, looking towards a door or something? Like, a passage where you could flee?
Make a perception roll.
Um, 22.
When you're looking at him, it feels like someone who is judging distances between him and every single exit there are from this hall.
Okay, so I don't really notice if he's, like, aiming for a specific door.
No, but you do have a feeling that he's trying to figure out which one to use.
Okay. I'll whisper to Anvara. He's probably trying to flee. We should make sure that the exits are not available to him.
Well, there are several mine shafts around. Which one do you want to cover?
Maybe the one where the monster was?
Alright. You take one shaft, I'll take the other.
Got it. Now go to the one where I guess the monster was.
Where you met everyone
where
else.
I went back then to the elevators.
Alright. And Anvara
Kinda
goes
like wait
to the
there
closest...
by the elevators if he's...
Alright, and Anvara goes to the closest shaft from where he is standing. So...
Okay.
The dwarf seems to be becoming very agitated, and he is, no matter what he says, he doesn't seem to be able to get back the dwarves. Because every time he says something, you say something that allows them to roll with advantage, and because of that, they keep being suspicious of him. Eventually, he just looks at you, audience. He looks at Fisher, and he looks at all the dwarves around him. You see him raise his hand, and then there's a flash of light followed by darkness. When that happens, you don't see anything that happens. The flash of light sort of distracts most of the dwarf, and a lot of them close their eyes. And while this flash happens, you feel him go up as if he either flew up to the same height as a human, or something happened and he changed height.
Okay.
Very fast. But before your eyes have time to adjust to the flash of light, darkness spreads all around you.
Okay. I'm gonna tighten my grip
yeah,
on whatever.
still holding him.
I'm not gonna let go.
Alright. Then he's going to try to break free with disadvantage because you're both holding him. So I'd say one of you can either both roll, and I'm only going to take the one who rolls the highest, or one of you can roll with advantage.
Is it a strength check?
Yes.
I mean, Dre, if you have me roll with advantage, I'm probably gonna succeed. I don't know what you're saying.
My modifier is only one less than yours.
Okay, do you want to just both? Do you want to just both roll then? Okay.
That makes more sense.
All right, let's just both roll.
Oh, that's not good.
We're fine. I got a 21.
Okay, good. I got a 12, but.
All right.
I mean, if he beats a 21, I don't know what to say, but
The results were mirrored.
Why can't I find this? Because
he's a dark elf, which is what I expect he is. I would be very surprised if his strength modifier is super high.
No,
he's just.
You found the very first Goliath elf half-breed.
No, sorry. No, actually, he rolled pretty high, but not high enough. So you feel him trying to break free. And Fisher, how much did you roll?
I got a 12.
You got a 12. So he managed to break away from you, Fisher, but audience, you managed to hold him in position, and you still have your hand on his shoulder, gripping it firmly. The mass of this seems to have changed. It is no longer something short and stout. It is something tall and lean.
Can I try and grapple it to the ground?
Since you are
technically, he just
already...
had an action. For doing this.
Well, technically, I'd say you are already grappling him, so you can attempt... No, I was going to say you can attempt a shove action. You can attempt a shove action, which is basically the same thing. It's just going to be he's going to be prone if he fails. So it would be a well, actually, he's trying to break away from this and not fall to the ground. So strength check for you. And
okay. Basically, what I'm trying to get is I just don't want to have like one. I basically want to. At this point, I'm just trying to do all. So I basically want to wrap two arms around him and like try and force him onto the ground into a position that basically he's not going to be able to get out of.
All right.
So.
Meanwhile, in a different part of the mine, Rami
great.
thinks everything is fine.
Not my best. Rolled pretty low. I only got a 10 on that one.
He only got a 10. Oh, unfortunately, he managed to break free because while you're trying to shove him on the ground, he's trying to resist it, and his total is 20. So you don't manage to shove him on the ground. However, you are still holding him. Fisher, you're inside this magical darkness. Valtteri, you saw this ball of darkness just emanate from where they were, and it's a really nice, perfect 30-foot diameter sphere.
And I probably recognize the spell as well, right?
Most likely, I'd say, well, for you it's religion, so roll for a religion, because it's a spell, but...
Okay. Yes.
I do think it comes naturally on the druid spell list, so I hope she knows it.
Yeah, that's why...
Well, I hope I know because I just rolled a natural 20, so I have 23.
Alright, well, the DC wasn't high, so you wasted a natural 20, but...
Well, I already wasted the natural 20 at the beginning of the session.
So, yeah, you do recognize...
By intimidating a poor Kenku.
You do recognize the spell effect of darkness. So, well, actually, I don't know how much you knew about drows. Make an intelligence roll.
Great, the one thing I was hoping not to be happening today.
All right.
I know someone
50.
who would know a lot about him.
50.
Druids go more with wisdom and not with intelligence.
Oh, that's all right. 15, that's enough. You've heard that they have the ability to innately cast darkness and light spell. So there's a chance that this is this dark elf, the Shari elf, natural ability. It could also mean that it's a priest or a mage. One of the two.
Question.
Yes.
Do I see the ends of the spell? Like, if someone would exit that spell, that I would see that person?
Yeah, if the person exit the spells, you exit the spell, you would see it.
Yeah, I don't know, because I didn't know how wide my vision is from the tunnel, so I don't know if I was able to see, like, perfectly the shape of the spell, or if they're like...
yes, it's a
some
dwarven
walls.
hall. There is so much more space than needed.
Then I'll get ready to sprint if I see a humanoid figure running, or like an elfish figure running out of that spell.
All right.
Yeah, humanoid is everybody in there.
I see someone
from the
run.
height,
Tackle
not
it.
dwarf height, like human height.
All right.
Does anyone have any way to dispel darkness? That's mostly directed towards Anvara, who's a cleric.
We're not high enough
Not at
level
this
to
level.
third level spells yet.
Oh, that's true. Damn it.
Dispel would to remove it. You either have to cast dispel or a third level light spell.
Yep, so she can't do either of those.
Or kick the ass out of the person casting it until they drop it.
Well,
Yep.
I'm down to do that, but
Yeah, he's trying.
Would
I
second
was
level
gonna try.
moonbeam work?
Well,
Nope.
actually no, because I think you have to see the person to cast Moonbeam.
Damn it.
Well, you don't need to see the person, it's just that you might hit audience or Fisher or any of the dwarves.
Yeah, it's something
Yeah.
that you can move. So you can actually just cast it over this and throw the beam inside of this and hope that you're not going to hit Fisher audience as you're doing this.
Just kill some commoner dwarves.
Yeah, and
I don't know. I'm not
possibly
risky.
2 or 3 other dwarves stuck in there.
I mean, they've got good constitution. I'm sure they'll be fine.
So, all right. Well, audience, unless you want to do something else, it's a contest to see who can push, shove, or do whatever.
I'm not. I'm just grappling this man right now.
All right, then.
Can I try and find him again? 'Cause I lost him.
Yes, I'd say make a perception roll with disadvantage because you're in complete darkness.
It's a 14, but I missed a natural 20.
It's a 14.
You can hear the clap of their ass cheeks through the darkness.
I mean, I'm not mounting this elf, not yet at least. I'm trying to get him on the ground, but he's resisting.
All right. Okay. So no, you unfortunately do not manage to find this. The passive stealth of this elf is way higher than your perception roll. So you can
But
you can
the passive
hear.
stealth of audience is not high enough.
This is why
That is
I was
true.
going to say you can hear audience moving near you, but you don't know exactly where he is. But you have the feeling that he is dancing around your target. But you do not manage to figure out where that target actually is.
So another
Uh,
strength roll.
Do I know that darkness can be centered? That it can move?
Make an Arcana roll.
21.
21. I'd say yes. You know that it can be cast in an area, meaning it can't move, or cast on an object, which means it can be moved.
Okay. Yeah, I guess try it anyway. I'll shout to audience. Drag him out of it.
Drag him 30 feet. Audience will shout back, "He's a slippery one. I'm barely holding on to him as it is."
It's 30 feet diameter, so it's 15 feet from where you are to the edge of the darkness.
Oh, actually, I'll be like, "Yeah, he's a slippery one. I need a little help over here."
Where the fuck are you?
I mean, follow my voice.
Marco! Solo!
Audience, Fisher.
Right next to me. They have to be like 5 feet from you.
All
Raimi's
right.
just waiting outside the mine, wondering what's taking them all so long.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Actually, how much time has passed?
Well,
curious.
all of this happened pretty fast, but probably right now you'd be arriving at the exit of this, turning around, and noticing that no one followed you. Not even the tree.
You're just gonna, pop a message, I guess, over to Fisher again and just say, "What's the holdup, bird?"
What's the maximum range of message?
It's 120 feet.
Then you don't get an answer. Fisher, you don't hear anything.
Oh, come on! If I knew that I was that far away, I would have moved up a little bit.
All right, I'll give it to you. You know the range of the spell, so I'll give it to you. So you slowly make your way back inside, and we're gonna give one shot for audience to shove that person on the ground.
Alright. 19 plus 4 is 23.
Since you're attacking, it's your roll that beats his. I rolled a 19 plus 4, 23.
How strong is this elf? Why does this elf have 18 strength?
Because he can use dexterity to get out of this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, acrobatics is an
I was
option
about to be
for
like,
getting out.
do I feel these bulging muscles? I'm like,
No, but since you're the one,
Right.
since you're the one attacking him, your 23 beats his 23. So you
Ah.
actually managed to grapple it on the ground. So he is prone and grappled.
I will try and put my weight on him, so it's hard for him to rise. My 370 pounds or whatever.
All right. So he is completely shoved on the ground and maintain his darkness with a natural 20 on his concentration. So he is shoved to the ground.
340.
340. Yeah, that's a bit hard. What's the normal strength of these? I think it's time 15, 10. So that means, oh goodness. No, that exceeds, oh wow. All right. That exceeds the maximum lift a drow is able to do according to the monster manual. So he is pinned on the ground, and you can hear him say, "Ah!" He's trying to push away, but nothing happens.
There's advantages to being chunky, and this is one of them.
So, Fisher, you hear.
You hear audience yell, "I have him pinned!"
And then at that moment, you hear the message of Raimi coming into your head.
What's the holdup,
Out
bird?
of context, that can sound so completely wrong.
Raimi, get back in here.
Oh, goodness, that
We
actually
got a
works.
problem.
Remy, you do hear that answer.
Okay, I guess just bonus action dash, start making my way over.
Oh, wow. All right, well, he's going to try and... Oh, goodness. All right, Fisher, you can attempt to find audience and the dark elf, and I'm going to let you roll normally because disadvantage of the darkness, advantage because of audience talking, and the other one under him saying, ah!
Okay. No.
Oh, come
That's a
on.
5.
You keep searching.
Fisher's wandering.
I am blind as shit right
You
now.
keep trying to figure out where he is. Walking
okay.
in the dark.
I think I got him.
On a natural 1, you will stumble over him and still not find him because you think that was a dwarf.
Valtteri, you do see an odd thing happen as you watch this perfect sphere of darkness. You see Fisher coming out of it and then going back in.
Son of a bitch, no.
Like, nope, wrong way. Hold on.
I'll call over to him. Fisher, is everything alright?
Obviously not.
So, audience, do you do anything else? Do you want to try and...
I mean, now that I have him pinned, can I start just punching him?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Beat
guess
the
I
darkness.
roll. I mean, it will break his concentration eventually if I keep hitting him in the face enough times.
Yeah.
I guess that's a roll to attack with a +6 on a prone target, so I guess that's a roll with advantage.
You good lord. Yeah, I think.
Alright, that's a 19 to hit, and that's a 20 to hit. So.
Yeah,
20.
you definitely managed to hit him.
Alright, I punch him in the face for 5 damage, because I'm really strong.
Oh, wow.
You could divine smite it if you really wanted to.
I don't want to kill him.
So,
You know, just pop up an extra HP if he goes down, you know?
I'm trying to kill
lay
this
on,
man. I'm
lay
trying,
on hands. He's
just trying
back.
to, I'm just trying to beat him into submission.
So you feel where he is. Oh, this is head. And you see the darkness fade. He just rolled a 3 on his concentration.
All right.
So
What do I see?
You see the darkness fade. You see Fisher. He is not even looking in your direction.
Yeah, look at you.
Remy, you arrive in this hall as you see the darkness fade from this perfect sphere. You see Fisher not looking in the right direction. You see Valtteri looking slightly puzzled. And then you see audience sitting on a Dashari elf. You are actually sitting on a drow.
What I suspected.
Eyes narrow.
Raise fist and intimidate.
And you see audience looking at his fist, looking at the elf. Yeah. And this is where we're going to end the stream for tonight. All right. You managed to capture a dark elf. All right.
That was some weird stuff.
That was the direction I wasn't expecting this session to go.
No, me neither. But hey.
We went straight from, okay guys, this is a stealth mission. This is a stealth... Okay, tell me what you really are. Okay.
Well, the stealth mission was to get intel, and then we got the intel, and I used it. Or, actually, we got
didn't get
intel
any
from a
intel.
different source.
Well, actually, You
got audience
you
intel.
forgot to factor in one element. You have a dragonborn paladin in your group. Stealth?
The distraction got the intel.
I get why Raimi would pay specific attention to audience in any given moment. But
All right. Well, that was an interesting session.
Out
One
of
that
character, it's just so hard to pay attention to Sam.
Well, that was an interesting session, and I guess we'll get to see how this keeps on going, because we have a dark elf surrounded by dwarves, audience, Valtari, Raimi, Fisher, Anvara, and Orunak, all watching him. Well, except for Fisher, who's actually looking in another direction when the darkness
I turned
fades.
around.
This is when you actually realize just how far away you were from your goal.
I started just doing like a grid, just like walking back and forth through the darkness.
All right. Well, thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the show. We sure did. So if you enjoyed, as always, you can support the stream by following us on Twitch, Twitter, or YouTube. And if you want to support us by making a donation, you can always use Patreon or make a donation through one of the links below. If you're watching this from Twitch, live, or with YouTube, there is a link either below the screen or in the description. If you're watching this from Patreon, well, you have a way to make a donation there through Patreon. Or you can just go to the YouTube channel or the Twitch channel and make a donation through the link there. It uses PayPal. So. And of course, you can always simply spread the word of this channel. It always helps. The more there are, the merrier the chat will be. So, don't hesitate. Talk about it to your friend, to your favorite YouTuber. Who knows? Maybe it could become a guest one day if he's a already existing player. So, until then, we'll see you all again next Wednesday. Be safe, and as always, especially now, be healthy. Bye.
See you, boys.
ciao, bye.
Bye bye.